everybody. It's Tim with the Attitude for Gratitude podcast down here at 4026 Washington Avenue North. We're at Will Work for Recovery. We do the podcast every Friday night. We go live at 8 p.m. Sometimes we go a little earlier, but I will make those notifications if that's the case. We're on TikTok Live. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube and trying to break into some other platforms. But we are down here at Will Work for Recovery. We have meetings every night of the week at 7 p.m. On Wednesdays, we do a men's meeting and a separate women's meeting at 5 p.m. Come on down, do that hour meeting, hang out for some fellowship for an hour or so, and then we have the big meeting at 7 p.m. Every night of the week, there's a 7 p.m. meeting. Tuesdays, there's a Well-Bridie meeting. That's an Indigenous persons-based meeting where we do some spiritual readings and then share. Thursday night's more of a spiritual style meeting as well with Megan. Friday is a call-up meeting where you get a ticket and they call your number and you stand up and talk about what's been keeping you clean and sober. There's just all types of variety of recovery down here at Will Work for Recovery with the structured meeting every morning at 6:30 a.m. and on Sunday it's at 7 a.m. Other than that, like, this is a place that it's a resource center. It's an RCO. It's a recovery community organization. We have peer recovery specialists. We have multiple different avenues of recovery down here. We have a computer room with computer classes that have started, and they continually restart. So look into that. Speak with myself, Paul, Carolyn, anyone who's of service down here can kind of get you linked in. We've always got more things that come about. We got Chucky the Soap Man down here who's making soap by the bundles. Come on down and get some. If you haven't tried this soap, like, I implore you to give it a shot. Everyone who gets some always comes back for more. And Chuck's like, he's a godly man with the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met. He makes this soap and just hands it out. He does take donations, but basically I'm always watching him just hand soap out. So it's just, it's part of the different things that we do down here. Wednesday nights, there's a recovery podcast that they've started. It's called Rule 62 with a rotating type format of open door policy. Anyone can come in and share about their stories. And Friday nights, so the night of the podcast at 8:30, Big O started Recovery Okie. Like, there's just multiple things. And then Race has got the fire pit going all through the winter. He's built this big, huge, like, miraculous type fire pit with all these pallets around it. Just a lot of stuff happening down here. We got ping pong tables and foosball tables and prayer rooms and big monitors with big screen movies playing, all sorts of stuff. We have a full workout room. Come on down here. Check it out. 4026 Washington Avenue North. If you're struggling, please reach out. Down 988 Intergroup or come on down. Get ready. Buckle up for the show.
What? Hi, Marty.
Hey, everybody. It's me again, Tim with the Attitude for Gratitude podcast. Thanks for sitting through the commercials. And I do know that we started a little early. We've got some different things going on down here, but typically it is 8 p.m. start time. And that's really loud in my ear. I got the show playing there, just making sure you guys can hear me too. There is something I want to bring up right away. As I always do. If you're struggling, please reach out. But I went over everything that we do down here at Will Work for Recovery. And if you have any questions, just come on down. 4026 Washington Avenue North. They're doing the karaoke thing like they do every Friday night. The campfire is going to be going on. And I'd say till 11 o'clock at least. So if you're looking for somewhere safe and clean and sober to go to, come down, check it out, sing, get in front of a fire, have a s'more, whatever. It's always fun. We got a place called Victory AA on Monday nights. It's at the United Church in Robbinsdale, 4200 Lake Road. It's a step in tradition meeting. It's an open mix meeting. They do readings from the Big Book and from Grapevine. I'm sharing about this because I went to it, and I know a few people that have gone to it over time, and I'm putting it in the chat. So it has all the Zoom info and the location of the meeting, but go check it out. If it's just one time, go down, check out this meeting. If you're looking for a good meeting, go check it out. There's a good core group of people that go there, and they're very welcoming. So if you have questions about it, my number's scrolling across the top. You can reach out to me. Other than that, like, get involved. That's what we get to do. So we're back at our favorite shows with Rick and Misty, the reoccurring shows. I know I've been slacking on having them on reoccurringly, if that's a word. But we already locked down next month. That's the 29th of next month. They'll be back on to do Step and Tradition 11. Tonight we're going to hit 10. We're going to get back into that, even though this summer, I told you guys it's going to be a different format. First 2 Fridays of every month coming up throughout the summer, it's going to be Kevin in this seat doing the free-for-all shows. So if you want to get on this show, come on down on a Friday night, the first 2 Fridays of the month, share some of your experience, strength, and hope, or sit out there and watch it, or go listen to music or play music or sing music or bonfire, blah, blah, blah. Whatever floats your boat. Check it out. All right, zoom back out. We got Rick and Misty in the house. Oh, I can get all 3 of us on the camera. Nice.
Nice.
All right. So, want to introduce yourself again, sir?
I'm Rick.
Welcome to the show again.
I'm Misty. I'm an alcoholic.
Welcome back to the show, both of you. So, before we even get into it, how's life been going, guys? Everyone's always curious. I forget to check in with you guys. We always get right into it. And everyone's always curious, like, well, what do they do? What do you guys do for fun? This out of the blue, different question. What does fun look like for you, Rick?
Interesting.
You can't say Misty.
I can't.
I don't think he would.
Oh, he was gonna.
How about Ollie?
Yeah, that would be more like it.
Is either one of them closer? You can hold up real
Yeah.
quick. So we have 2 service animals in the house, and technically, oh, look at this one. Tell us a little story about this. Didn't you guys drive, or you had him ship? What's the story on Ollie? This is a new dog to the family, right?
Yeah,
Look at that little thing. I'm
he
going to zoom
came
up.
from North Carolina.
And he is a what is he? Chihuahua?
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua. Look at that little thing. And then his brother,
This is Party Marty.
Party Marty.
He has anxiety.
Yeah.
He's in training.
Yep. They're both service animals. Like I said, typically down here we don't have dogs, but they're both service animals and they're in this room. They're not out running around. So you guys are dog parents. That's fun for you, right?
Yes.
Dog stuff. All right, now we can get into some Step and Tradition talk. Unless there's, have you been out on the bike yet?
Oh yeah, yep.
What are you riding?
have.
Now? Oh, you got another Triumph, right? Or no,
I got it.
a Rocket.
Rocket 3.
Do you like riding on it with them?
I haven't done that.
You haven't been on the bike with them?
Not this year, but it's not. We haven't been on the bike much. We used to go to South Dakota and bike there.
South Dakota. Is that Sturgis?
No,
No,
we would
I don't
in
go
the
during
like,
Sturgis.
sometime in June, and then we would be on the bike for like hours now, where your butt hurts.
Oh, yeah, that's biking. Jess will say the same if I were on long rides. You have a comfortable seat though, don't
He
you?
upgraded because I complained too much,
Well, I got rid of that bike though.
but you did upgrade before.
Yeah.
Jesse has it.
Jesse got it? Good. I'm glad.
That's a
He
good
needed
bike.
to get a bigger bike.
Yeah.
But it was the bike he had was perfect, in my opinion. For him, that was his first bike, right? The one he bought?
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, yeah. I'm glad. That's how you do it there. And now he's on a
Jesse's bike. They kind of all.
nice.
Yeah.
All right, now we put their business out there. You guys okay with that? We got some updates and bike riding, fun, dogs. All right. So Step 10. What is Step 10?
Step 10.
It's continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it.
Okay. And out of this book here, I think that usually we start talking about that near page about
It's on page in the big book. It's on page 84.
84. Oh, hang on. See if this you want. We can turn the light on. What am I doing?
That's all right.
Oh, that's okay. He likes,
Oh,
I just do it
okay.
like this.
Okay, perfect. We're good. We got sound. Everyone's in. Page 84 of the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book.
You want me to go?
Yeah, where it says this thought brings us to step 10. What's this thought? It's about the promises.
This,
They will always materialize if we work for them.
this thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commence this way of living as we clean up the past. We have entered the world of the Spirit. The next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
gonna do this. I know I'm not. I know. I knew that was gonna happen. Everyone's complaining that this is blocking.
Oh, sorry.
So there we go. Sorry.
When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code.
Okay, it says, continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. Those are really the ideas out of step 4 in the big book. When these crop up, it doesn't say if.
Because they're going to.
They're going to, yeah. So when they crop up, you got to do something with it.
In your experience throughout your journey, do they still crop up, or has that gone away now?
Sometimes. There's a couple of things that happened to me that I've got some stories about, but maybe when we get into the 12 and 12, I'll talk about that, you
Okay.
know. But, this step really helps you to keep from picking up a bunch of crap along the way.
Or resentments.
It gets you to look at stuff. But, they're assuming you've done an inventory and you know what that looks like. So,
And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol.
have you done that yet? Ceased fighting anything or anyone?
Try to.
For by this time, sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we would find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. This is how we act. That is how we react as long as we keep in fit spiritual condition.
So long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. Isn't that something?
Well, this is a spiritual malady.
Well, I mean, the resentments and stuff make you sick. So you got to watch for that stuff. That's what it said on the other page. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. Yeah.
It is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are the thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will.
So it's not about fighting your will. It's about redirecting it.
Much has already been said without receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from him, who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of his spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense. But we must go further, and that means more action.
Now, any of you guys got any experience with this, with doing something? Got a story of something that happened?
With the 10th,
With having to make an amend?
well, with my ex-husband, let's see. Him and I weren't together at this point, and you know, one of the things that we would do, even though we were separate, to continue to he's fine, call each other and fight and call each other names and all that stuff over and over again. And then as was working the steps and stuff, I quit reacting to that. And when I did react to that, I would take a step back and then make my amends. And if I, whatever I was doing, I would come to him and like tell him like, hey, I shouldn't have talked to you like that. I apologize. And it worked out where by the end of like a few months, neither of us were having those crazy fighting conversations. We haven't had them in years, but that's all we had for most of our relationship at the end for about 4 years, was just constant name calling and arguing.
I know I say it differently than probably some would, but basically, like, let's not kid ourselves, because you started working this program, you're able to have a non-confrontational relationship with your ex-husband now.
That was difficult. Yeah. And it was like through difficult conversations, I was able to have a conversation with him that wasn't about one-upping him with my smart ass mouth.
Well, so you watched 10 work for you live in action.
Yeah. I didn't know it at the time that it was working. Like, it didn't come to me, I'm working step 10. It was becoming natural as I was working it.
Big one for me was just lying. The lying for me. The first few years of the first year I spent a lot of time apologizing right after I'd say something.
Yeah.
And hey, buddy, I don't even know why I just said that. I just lied. Don't know why, but that's because of this. Because of the program, I was able to even be aware of it, Rick, do you have some experience with this?
Oh, I've had a lot of experience with this, especially when you're new. Because when you're new in the program and you haven't written inventory, and even after, you're going to be reactive. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm reactive is because I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I'm guilty. And I don't like it when I see it outside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I react to it, and then I act out. I was just looking at this little pamphlet here. I got something written in here. It says, sincerity is not enough. What we need is honesty. Honesty is a never-ending openness to the facts. Sincerity is believing one's own propaganda. So you can be very sincere and full of crap.
Can you give an example, kind of?
Well, I think about your life. I thought, for example, when I got sober, I thought that my upbringing was the reason my life was a mess, And I realized as I went along and I wrote some inventory, that just wasn't a fact. But I was very sincere about what I believed.
Okay.
But it wasn't, it's just, this is an openness to the facts. Sincerity is believing one's own propaganda. So you can be very sincere and full of shit at the same time.
It's not, I was going to say you're a big proponent of this, but that's not the right way of saying this. You personally have helped me to always how do I even word it? You pointed out more than once, and it made me think of this when you're talking about early recovery, and the things that bug me the most are things that are issues with me. And I know you've used the theft side of things. And it's because of you that I don't know. I'm not wording it right, but if I spot it, I got it. One of those type of deals. When I'm seeing someone do something and it's really affecting me, I should probably take a look in that big.
Well, when you're emotional about it, when it's at an emotional level. See, these things are at an emotional level.
right.
That's why you can't just override it intellectually.
Mm-hmm.
You have to deal with it at an emotional level. I'll give you an example of something that.
So how do we deal with it at an emotional level then?
Well, you deal with it at the time when it happens with the 10 step. Now, when I got sober, none of the steps looked particularly friendly to me, except maybe step 10. At least I had a sense of step 10 that I could work that because I was an atheist. I mean, what are you going to do with these steps when you don't believe? You know, that didn't go away right away. I was searching out topic meetings and feelings groups. Oh boy, those were rough, you know. And the reason I say those were rough is because nothing ever really changes. You just flop around in your puddle. You know, it's like you're splashing around in your puddle. You don't really you don't have a solution. You know, it's just how you feel is how you feel. Okay, I understand that. Okay, but it doesn't mean it's reality. But it does mean it's how you feel.
Yeah. And your feelings are valid by the story you're telling yourself.
Always. Always.
Someone else had put that in my head. Because it made it the things I always regurgitate from something that you've shared. I've been able to apply it, or it's been something that's occurred in my life. And all of a sudden this is why, you know what I mean? It's someone put it, Rick has put certain, and I'm not the only one. I've had person after person, and there's certain, God, I'm going to jump all over. Someone explained to me, because I didn't understand the word parable. You know, Jesus spoke in parables, okay? And I'm not putting on this level yet, but there's a way that you share about some of our literature and your experience. Just like, if I'm not mistaken, Jesus would use parables. Another guy explained, well, that's so he could dumb it down to some people and have to use a story that they'd understand. If he's talking about if he's talking to a fisherman, he's going to relate it to some parable with fish, whatever. I don't know if it's just you being you or you sharing from your own experiences, but some of the things you've shared, and that's like a big one. Like when I spot it, it causes me an issue. It's something I need to look at with self.
Well, yeah, okay.
I know I jumped all over and I don't even know.
No, and it is, but you know, some people misunderstand some of this stuff. Like, for example, because you react to people who are resentful, well, or in any kind of a behavior. Let's just say any kind of a behavior.
Okay.
So somebody acts in a way that disturbs me. Maybe they're a thief. And I react to that. It's because I have some guilt around that issue. Or maybe you didn't steal, but you have resentment towards somebody who did steal from you. Mm-hmm. So it's always a resentment. And a resentment toward yourself is guilt. That's what guilt is. It's a resentment toward yourself. But it's always an issue within me when I'm reactive to a situation. Now, maybe, let me give you an illustration of something. This happened to me early on because I hadn't written inventory yet, and I was very emotional about things. And I would lose it. I would just, if somebody said something wrong or acted in a particular way, I would just react violently. I mean, it's not like I could stop and think about it.
Will you set this out there? I know it's easier for you to walk out there. Just set it like on that table right there. I'm sorry. It was easier for you to react violent, or that was your go-to?
Well, that's just the way it was. I would react violently to the situation. Okay. I couldn't control myself. I didn't have control of myself. And when you got resentments, you won't be able to control yourself.
Okay.
You're going to lose it. So I was about a month sober.
Oh, shit.
What's the matter?
Door's locked. No, she turned the knob, so she should be able to come in. So you're about how long sober?
Probably a month and a half sober.
Okay.
And I haven't worked any of the steps. I haven't done any inventory. I'm trying to avoid the steps. The only step that looked reasonable or possible at all was the 10th step. You know, I could continue to take my inventory,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was wrong, admitted it. The problem I had was I couldn't see that I was wrong. No, I mean this. I really had, I just didn't have any awareness that I was wrong.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You know, in fact, there was a friend of mine's mother that we used to argue all the time. I mean, we weren't mean arguing. We were just discussing things and
Like debating.
debating and that sort of thing. And after I got sober, I went back to see her. Her son died, the guy that I knew,
Okay.
that was connected to her and why I knew her at all. He died in a situation in a car accident. But I went back to talk to her after I was sober, and she says, "Do you remember that we used to argue all the time?" And I forgot about it. But it was because I couldn't see that I was wrong. So I'm trying to convince her all the time that she's wrong.
Was it that she's wrong, or see that I'm right?
Well, that's the
Is it
same thing.
different?
That's the same thing, really. And I couldn't see it. I didn't know that I was wrong. I couldn't see these things. See, it was I you know, it's strange, but I was 30 some years old before I really realized that that everybody saw things differently. They could look at the same situation and see something else. I had no awareness that that was the case. I thought people saw what I saw, but they don't. They see from their own background, their own
Perspective,
conditioning, their own circumstances and grievances and that sort of thing. So, you know, it's not like I wouldn't admit that I was wrong. I just didn't see that I was wrong.
Okay.
Even though I had some experiences of being wrong. I'll give you an example of that. I was the first time I really saw that I was wrong, and I was drinking at the time. I was young, 18 years old, that I was drinking with a guy in my living room who I just met. And he was introduced by a couple friends. And I sat there and drank with him that night at my place. I blacked out all the time. So, you know, that was common. Every time I drank, I blacked out. And I woke up the next morning and he's gone, and so's my money. See? So clearly, this guy ripped me off. I mean, just, you know, nobody else there but him and I. And, but this is really a story of delusion, being delusional. So I called up people who introduced me to him, and I made sure everybody knew he was a thief, but nobody seemed to know him. He just kind of blew in, took my money, and blew out. But I made sure everybody that I called, probably 2-3 phone calls, knew what a thief he was.
Just ran his name.
And what an ass. I slandered him up pretty good, you know, because I was pissed off. Well, a couple of months go by, and I opened a drawer, and I hid my money in a drawer when I was drunk, and I didn't know I put it there. See, when I saw it, it came back to me that the reason I hid it was because I knew I'd black out and that he might steal my money. So as soon as it came up missing, what do? I blame him.
Yeah.
It's got to be him.
Got to.
Well, it has to be. And that now I just came across it a couple months later, and it's embarrassing when stuff like this happens, you know? So I don't admit this to anybody. I'm not going to tell my buddies that I was wrong and I hid my money from myself when I was drunk. You know, it's embarrassing when you do shit like that. So I left that perception out there for him to deal with. But clearly I was wrong when I would have been anything I was right.
At that stage of your life, it's not like you sat and called everyone back and told them, hey, the guy I just ran his name through the mud, I was the one. No.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, of course.
You could see me do something and I deny it.
Mhm.
Why would I admit it after a couple of months? And that's true. I mean, literally, you could see me do something and I deny it. So I just left that, but I felt guilty about it. See, I felt guilty about what I did because this guy was a decent guy,
Right.
you know, and who knows where that gossip went. But that was a situation where clearly I was wrong when I would have bet anything I was right. Well, you got anything you want to share? Or you?
Anything more?
Mine's a lot. The lying stuff for me, it was that relationship stuff. Mine all goes to the benefit side of, like, that's all I can think of. I mean, prior to recovery, it was a shit show. There's everything you're talking about. Yeah, I lied, cheated, stole, blamed, bonded to self. I keeps going back to that in my head, and for a lot of early recovery, it was all about self. It made me think about when you're sharing, like, I used to always say they have no common sense. Well, everyone has common sense. It's just not the same as mine, you know? And without this program or working these steps, I'd have never even had the ability to see another side of something.
Well, I can give you one where I made a big mistake when I was early sobriety, about a month and a half sober. I'm moving my plumbing store, antique plumbing store. And I've got about 4 guys helping me from AA. And we happen to be moving in next to the Mill Inn bar on Washington Avenue in Portland. The Mill Inn is a bar, a downtown bar that back then, now this is 37 years ago, a lot of people from downtown, a lot of business people went in there for lunch. And it was a nice place and they had nice food and that sort of thing. So we go in there because I'm moving right next door. We unloaded the truck and I'm going to buy them lunch. So we eat. These guys go out and they're standing on the street smoking, you know. And I went up and I paid the bartender with $100 bill. This is when $100 bill actually had some value, you know. And he gave me back a bunch of cash, and I grabbed it in a hand that I already had money in. See, when you're new and you've got a lot of baggage in your mind, a lot of stuff, you can't think clearly. You just don't. And I was confused. And I'm counting the money as I'm walking out. And I think this guy just cheated me out of $20. And as soon as I hit the sidewalk, I turned around and I thought, I gotta go. So I went back in and I said, hey, bartender, you cheated me out of $20. And I did this quite loudly because he was a little bit away from me. He said, no, I didn't. I said, yeah, you did. And then I went off on him. I just lost my shit. It's not like, again, nothing irritates a thief more than somebody stealing from him.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. I mean, it's just infuriating. One time somebody burglarized my garage and stole all my stolen stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it pissed me off. I'm telling you. But that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so now I'm yelling at this guy, and there's a room full of people. I mean, these are, and then he's not obviously agreeing with me. So I storm out, and I felt like somebody was setting concrete blocks on top of my head.
With each step, just.
Yeah. Well, you know, Bill writes it in the 12 and 12. I'm going to read something, or maybe Misty can read it.
He's referencing this right here,
The 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book in step 10.
which is page 88.
88.
Yep, it starts on page 88.
Okay. I just want to read this. We can read the rest of it later, but the paragraph at the bottom where it says, when a drunk has a terrific hangover.
When a drunk has a terrific hangover because he drank heavily yesterday, he cannot live well today. But there is another kind of hangover which we all experience, whether we are drinking or not. That is the emotional hangover. The direct result of yesterday's and sometimes today's excesses of negative emotion anger, fear, jealousy, and the like. If we would live serenely today and tomorrow, we certainly need to eliminate these hangovers.
See, that's exactly what was happening. As I raged, I felt heavy. And it felt like somebody was setting concrete blocks on top of my head, you know. And the more energy I poured into the rage, I'm walking out just rageful.
Yeah.
And I get outside on the street and my buddies look at me and that clearly there looked like something was wrong with me. None of them knew what happened, see.
But they knew something was up.
But I looked nuts, I suppose. I don't know. I was raging. And I get out there and I told them what happened. And then somebody gave me some information and I don't remember what it was, but it may have been something like I gave him some money earlier.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten that I had done it. And I realized I'm wrong. I'm wrong. This guy didn't rip me off. Now, I got to tell you this, as soon as I came to that conclusion, the 10th step came into my mind. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. I don't want to admit it. I don't want to go back in that bar.
Especially after the scene.
Especially after the scene I just made. See, so I'm having a lot of racing thoughts at this moment because why did that step come into my mind at that moment? You know. Wasn't what I was looking for, but it did.
Right.
And I get a thought that I don't want to go in there. But then I had a thought, and it wasn't mine. It said, Rick, are you just going to give this program lip service, or are you going to work it? Or are you going to? Now, I don't know who that voice was.
I was just going to say, whose voice was it?
Well, it wasn't my idea, and I can tell you it wasn't. It used my name.
Were you still an atheist at this point?
I was still an atheist. Oh, big time.
Okay.
Big time atheist. So anyway, I thought, oh shit, I got to go back in there. So I turned around, I started to walk into the bar, and I'm telling you, I wasn't in any hurry. But we were pretty close we were just out on the sidewalk. Yeah. So the doorway was right there. And I start walking in and I'm going fairly slow, but I got thoughts that are coming rapidly right now. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I think I'll just slither up to the end of the bar and say, hey, bartender, will you come over here a minute? You see, that's what I wanted to do.
Not like when you called him out on the 20.
No, I wanted to do this very quietly. And as I was having those thoughts, I get that voice again that uses my name. It said, no, Rick, you have to clean this up the same way you made it, loudly and in front of everybody.
And this guy could have been either a class act or he could have really let you have it. What happened?
I tell you, I thought, man, I don't want to do this. I just don't want to do it. But I knew I had to do it. Now, why did I have to do it? Because this guy's livelihood is dependent on tips. Primarily, he makes money based on his tips. What are the tips based on? His character. Mm-hmm. And what did I do? I slandered his character. See, that's what I did. And I caused a big, big problem in front of a lot of the patrons who were in there for lunch. And so I knew I had to do this loudly and in front of everyone. So I did. And I said, hey, bartender, will you come here a minute? And I got to tell you, this guy was a class act because he came over to me. I wouldn't have come near a guy who did what I did to him. Not at least at that point. And and he came over and I said, and I did this loud. I said, I was wrong. You were right. You didn't cheat me out of $20. I made a mistake. And I did this loudly and in front of everybody. And he looks at me and he says, apology accepted. And he turned around and he walked away. See, now that's a class way of handling a situation like that. Oh, yeah. You know, a lot of people might not have handled that the way he did, but this guy was a decent human being, you know?
Especially off the back of the way you approached him about thinking he took from you. Being loud and just, And I think that you're right. That's
Well, when
10
you're
step.
raging, it wasn't that I wanted everybody to hear it. I just didn't have control of myself.
Right.
See, when I did it, and I knew I had to straighten it out the same way. So that was one of the first. In fact, it was, as far as I recall, the first time that I actually worked a step or
Applied a
worked the
step
10th
into
step.
yeah.
You got a positive reaction.
Well, not only did I get a positive reaction from him, but when I left, I was just excited. I was high as a kite when I walked out of that bar. Why? A spiritual principle practiced. That's what happens when you practice these principles. I didn't get back to square one, where I was before I made the mistake. I might have been feeling okay. I got high from doing it. And I went into the rest of the day, excited and happy and feeling great. Now, what if I wouldn't have done it? What if I would have just said, no, I'm not going to do that?
Yeah.
I'd have carried that guilt into the day. And some people drink over this stuff. Now, I wasn't in a position where I was going to drink. Okay. My sobriety has never been a threat. It has been threatened by my behaviors. No matter how bad my behaviors may have been, my sobriety is not, I never had that issue. Why? Because it was removed from me at 3 weeks sober. My sobriety has never been dependent on even really working the steps. I made a commitment at 3 weeks sober that I was going to do anything not to live the way I'd been living. And I meant it. And I still mean it. And that commitment carried me when I didn't believe. So you can make a lot of mistakes, but and I could make a lot of mistakes. I could do a lot of stupid things. And my sobriety was never threatened. Never was. Never had an issue that way. But a lot of people, it is. And
It gets
if
affected.
if they don't maintain their spiritual condition, we read it a little bit ago, that this is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. What does that mean? Let go of the resentments, get rid of the guilt, get rid of the hatred, get rid of the,
Yeah, when I was still living with my ex-husband, I was sober, he was drinking, and I was resenting him for all the things that he was doing and living in that. And it just kept building up. And I felt like I was trying to work the program, but I was white knuckling it the whole time. And I just couldn't deal with it.
See, a lot of people drink over this stuff,
Well,
because and they can't be honest with themselves. But there was no question I was wrong. When I was out on that sidewalk and I got that information, I realized, my God, I'm wrong. There's just no question about it. So, that was one situation that was a big deal. Now, there's some other stuff in here. Maybe we should read. Let's read step 10 from the beginning, where it says, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it.
As we work the first 9 steps, we prepare ourselves for the adventure of a new life. But when we approach step 10, we commence to put our AA way of living to practical use day by day in fair weather or foul. Then comes the acid test. Can we stay sober, keep in emotional balance, and live to good purpose under all conditions? A continuous look at our assets and liabilities and a real desire to learn and grow by this means are necessities for us. We alcoholics have learned this the hard way. More experienced people, of course, in all times and places have practiced unsparing self-survey and criticism. For the wise have always known that no one can make much of his life until self-searching becomes a regular habit, until he is able to admit and accept that what he finds and until he patiently and persistently tries to correct what is wrong. Sorry. When a drunk has a terrific hangover, we read this. Do you want me to read it?
Might as well, because
Okay.
it'll lead into the rest.
When a drunk has a terrific hangover because he drank heavily yesterday, he cannot live well today. But there is another kind of hangover which we all experience whether we are drinking or not. That is the emotional hangover, the direct result of yesterday's and sometimes today's excessive of negative emotion. Anger, fear, jealousy, and the like. If we would live serenely today and tomorrow, we certainly need to eliminate these hangovers. This doesn't mean we need to wander morbidly around in the past. It requires an admission and correction of errors now.
That's right, now. You know, I couldn't make that amend to that guy at another time. It had to be right now.
Yep.
Why? Because those people were in there at the time. So I couldn't go back the next day and straighten it out. I couldn't do it effectively.
No.
I had to do it right then and there. That was very important.
That's a great example of this too.
Our inventory enables us to settle with the past. When this is done, we are really able to leave it behind us. When our inventory is carefully taken and we have made peace with ourselves, the conviction follows that tomorrow's challenges can be met as they come.
Sure. I saw the value in doing that for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the benefit for making that amend for me. It boosted me.
Although all inventories are alike in principle, the time factor doesn't distinguish. The time factor does distinguish one from another. There's a spot check inventory taken at any time of the day whenever we find ourselves getting tangled up.
That's the one that I had right there.
There's a one we take at day's end when we review the happenings of the hours just past. Here we cast up a balance sheet, crediting ourselves with things well done and chalking up the debits where due. Then there are those occasions when alone or in the company of our sponsor or spiritual advisor, we make a careful review of our progress since the last time. Many AAs go in for an annual or semi-annual house cleanings. Many of us also like the experience of an occasional retreat from the outside world where we can quiet down for an undisturbed day or so of self-overhaul and meditation. Aren't these practices joy killers as well as time consumers? Must AAs spend most of their waking hours drearily rehashing their sins of omission or commission? Well, hardly. The emphasis on inventory is heavy only because a great many of us have never really acquired the habit of accurate self-appraisal.
Yeah, so you can maybe take an appraisal of yourself, but is it accurate, you know?
Once this healthy practice has become root, it will be so interesting and profitable that the time it takes won't be missed. For these minutes and sometimes hours spent in self-examination are bound to make all the other hours of the day better and happier.
No question.
And at length, our inventories become a regular part of everyday living, rather than something unusual or set apart. Before we ask what a spot check inventory is, let's look at the kind of setting in which such an inventory can do its work. It is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us.
Did you hear that? It's a spiritual truth. The word axiom means truth. That every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause of the disturbance, right? There's something wrong with us.
I don't like that.
I know. It makes you, hey, it's telling you, no, it's not anyone else. It's you.
There's something in me Now, it doesn't mean that the other person may
Yeah.
not have a problem,
Right.
but that's not the point. The point is, whenever I'm disturbed, it's because there's something wrong with me. That guy is just bringing it up.
I am so keep going. You guys keep going. I have to hop up for it'll be a minute and a half.
Isn't that person there to heal you, to help heal you, though, if it's brought up?
Yeah, they are. They're actually standing in. They're actually standing in, playing a role to help you heal.
Just like the same situation happens over and over again.
It's going to
until you-
keep happening until you change.
until you change it.
That's right.
If someone hurts us and we are sore, we are in the wrong also. But are there no exceptions to this rule? What about justifiable anger? If someone cheats us, aren't we entitled to be mad? Can't we be properly angry? Can't we be properly angry with self-righteous folks? For us of AA, these are dangerous exceptions. We have found that justified anger ought to be left to those better qualified to handle it.
Well, that sounds like he sidestepped the whole issue, doesn't it? You know, kind of just took it somewhere else here.
Few people have been more victimized by resentments than have we alcoholics. It mattered little whether our resentments were justified or not. A burst of temper could spoil a day, and a well-nursed grudge could make us miserably ineffective. Nor were we ever skillful in separating justified from unjustified anger. As we saw it, our wrath was always justified.
Of course it is. It's always justified.
Marty.
Right, Marty, I'm coming right by you too.
Marty,
Oh,
stop it. Get over it.
Triple Tim. Sorry about that, you guys.
That's all right. We're on page 90, second to last paragraph in the middle.
So a burst of temper could spoil a day, and a well-nursed grudge could make us miserably ineffective.
Nor were we ever skillful in separating justified from unjustified anger. As we saw it, our wrath was always justified. Anger, that occasional luxury of more balanced people, could keep us on an emotional jag indefinitely. These emotional dry benders often led straight to the bottle. Other kind of disturbances, jealousy, envy, self-pity, or hurt pride did the same thing.
That's right. So all of those things, when they occur, are really problematic in my mind.
In your mind,
Right.
not itself.
A spot check inventory taken in the midst of such disturbances can be a very great help in quieting stormy emotions. Today's spot checks finds its chief application to situations which arise in each day's march. The consideration of our long-standing difficulties had better be postponed, when possible, to times deliberately set aside for that purpose.
Yeah, that'd be taking a 4-step inventory.
The quick inventory is aimed at our daily ups and downs, especially those where people or new events throw us off balance and tempt us to make mistakes.
Yeah, so you take a look at yourself. You know, when I read this thing about it as a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us. No matter what the cause, there's something wrong with us.
And like you said, people will still do wrong towards me, but yeah, so let's run that example. Someone steals from you again. Now you're affected by it.
Okay, I'll give you an example of something that happened to me.
Parable time.
And
serious. I need this.
And this happened when I was about a year sober. I'd already written the 4-step inventory, and I'd resolved a bunch of the resentments. But you see, there's this temptation around AA rooms, and I think this is a problem. You know, Bill used to talk about, he would say, the good is the enemy of the very best. In other words, if you achieve your good, let's say it's physical sobriety, that will become the enemy of your very best if you settle down into it and don't grow. See, that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
I found out later that Bill stole that idea from the Oxford groups, but he used to say it a lot, apparently.
Okay.
In some of his writings, people would say that he would say that. So the problem, there's a temptation to change your behavior.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. If you're a thief, you should probably stop stealing. Okay. I mean, you should stop stealing if you're a thief, which I did. I stopped stealing. That didn't happen overnight. I'd catch myself walking into stores and stealing things. I wasn't even aware I was doing it. So, I mean, I literally found myself in one store right out in front of it with a bunch of stuff in my pocket that I didn't even realize that I had taken. So I had to go back into the store, take the stuff out of my pockets and put it back on the shelf. I had to force myself to do that sort of thing. This was really ingrained in me, you know? Well, so I changed my behavior, but I hung on to the judgment about the behavior.
Judging yourself?
Well, judging anybody. Stealing's bad, right?
Yep.
Okay. So now you think stealing, you're bad if you steal.
Whoops.
I mean, you're not just wrong, you're bad.
You're bad.
You're a bad person if you steal, right? Well, what's the problem with that then? You changed your behavior, right? You're not doing it anymore. Well, you can't forgive yourself because you can't change that you used to steal.
Okay.
All right. So you've still got the judgment about the behavior. You haven't let the judgment go. And you'll never be able to forgive yourself until you let the judgment about the behavior go. So how do you do that? Well, life has brought experiences for me to do that. I'm about a year sober. I'd written the inventories. I'd made some progress, a lot of progress.
Mm-hmm.
But as you go along, life will hand you some things that's in your way. So a guy asked me to sponsor him. He was 3 years sober. I was only a year sober. Now I felt kind of proud about that, you know, because here I'm only a year sober and he's 3 years sober. So I kind of had some pride about that. Like I must be a spiritual giant or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I wasn't too outrageous with that idea, but I did have that sense. So I go into this sponsorship role with him, and this guy's a thief. And he's stealing in sobriety. Now he's 3 years sober. Now I stopped within a year. I quit stealing. He's still doing it, 3 years sober, actively stealing. Wow. And I react violently to him. Why? Because I'm guilty. Because I used to steal.
Okay.
And I can't change that I used to steal. And I'm judgmental about it. And I have self-hatred for myself for being that kind of a person. Now I'm reacting to him. He's bringing it up in my face. And I noticed that every time I was around him, I was trying to get him to change. Why was I trying to get him to change? So I'd feel better. I want him to change so I won't feel this conflict when I'm around him. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how do we get past that?
So I every time I'm around him, I'm coming at him with all my condemnation and judgment. And whenever I'm around him, I feel like shit. Why? Because I'm judging myself. If he's bad, then so am I.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm hammering on him, and I'm using the big book to slam him. It says rigorously honest in here and all this kind of crap,
Yeah.
And I feel terrible every time I'm around him. And I thought, holy shit, I got to do something with this. What came into my mind was what we read at the beginning of this. It is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what seems to be the cause, there's something wrong with us. Well, I knew that Bill wrote that.
Yes.
See, and I knew that I was getting an opportunity to deal with something here. Whether I wanted to or not, it was in my face.
Yeah.
And I had to deal with it. So one day I thought, what if I don't go trying to change him? Every time I tried to change him, I didn't feel good because I'm hammering on myself.
Right.
What if I could come with some compassion and understanding for his inability to change? So what if he's 3 years sober and I changed within a year? Can you have some compassion, some understanding for his inability to change? Yeah.
So is that I'm not going to say answer. Is that the situation, or is it still something within self that we got to get to?
I practiced doing that with him. And as I did that with him, I started to drop the judgment about the behavior, which meant I was actually forgiving myself through him. He was showing me my errors.
Okay.
Now, this is exactly what the fourth step in the big book is. You write your resentments down, the people you're resentful at, and you ask God to help you see it from a different angle. Why are we doing that? So that you can forgive yourself, because you can't forgive yourself and hold judgment toward others. My judgment of this guy was the same as my hatred for myself. And you can't get out from under the weight of it. There's no way you can do it other than to see him differently.
Mm-hmm.
You can't forgive yourself first. You have to forgive yourself by seeing them in a new light, by giving them compassion and understanding. And the grievance went away. The resentment toward myself went away. And ever since then, I have not been reactive to people who were stealing.
So just that simple, not that simple, but just through that practice of compassion, grace, whatever, with this other person, it shed from you.
I had the issue was in me.
Yes.
Okay. It wasn't in the situation. Yeah, he's a thief. No question, he should change.
Yes.
Okay. Not the point. The point is, this guy was bringing my stuff up. He was bringing it up in my face. And he was giving me an opportunity to forgive myself by seeing him differently.
Just like you're judging him.
Right.
Drop the judgment about the behavior. I have not been reactive to people who steal since. Why? Because I dropped the grievance toward myself.
Yeah, like parables.
There's no way to get out of this. I'm telling you that it's in the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. You can't get it first. You get it by giving it.
I know, what a concept.
It's more than a concept. It's a practice.
Well, you know what I mean? Just to come in and someone explains that to you before you work steps.
Well, that's what Bill.
To me, it would have been bullshit.
Well, this is what Bill was trying to say when he wrote.
Right.
It is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what seems to be the cause, there's something wrong with us. Now he says, if somebody hurts us and we are sore, we are in the wrong also.
Mm-hmm.
But are there no exceptions to this rule? What about justifiable anger? Oh, yeah. What about that? If somebody cheats us, aren't we entitled to be mad? Can't we be properly angry with self-righteous folk? Then Bill kind of sidestepped it, but he doesn't really. He says, we have found that justified anger ought to be left to those better qualified to handle it.
But to peel back a layer of this, or whatever, this is where I go to, and it's not stroking your ego. What it is, and this is why I'm grateful for this program and the people I've met in the program. Me reading that, just a spiritual axiom, reading that, even with someone else, without me experiencing that, having an experience with that myself, I would not have picked up what he meant there. And then someone like you gives an example like you just did. That makes 100% sense to me now. Exactly what he was saying. I just didn't concept the words out of that book when I read it first until you explained it in practice.
Well,
does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's I mean, I've had many experiences like that. Your guilt, guilt is self-hatred.
Yeah.
It just
that makes sense.
It's a resentment toward yourself.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to let it go off of yourself while you're holding judgments toward other people for the same stuff. There's just no way out of it. You can't do it. I'll give you another example of this. Sponsoring a guy. He was brutal, man, when he was, and I don't know how sober he was when I was sponsoring him. He was a lawyer and he was a bully. But I think he got hurt when he was a kid. And I got a feeling he became a lawyer so that he could
have himself a little power.
Control.
Like the guy who got bullied in high school becoming a cop type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I think. I can't prove that.
Right.
But anyway, he was abusive. I mean, he would bring up everybody who was around him. He would bring up their stuff. He would belittle people when he'd talk to them. He'd talk down to them. He'd talk nasty to them. He guys who worked on this house that he had a big house. I was working for him and I was sponsoring him too. And the way he talked to people was just outrageous. And even my sponsor was reacting to him because of it. See? Well, one day I'd been working there for some time and there were there's carpenter there, Carpy was there. And there were some other people, electricians and stuff there. And everybody saw the way he acted, and talked down to people. He never did it to me. He never talked to me that way. I don't know why. He just never did. He always treated me with respect. I'm not sure why.
But still treat other people that way around you.
But I saw him doing this with other people and I didn't like it. Okay, so now I'm disturbed by the way he's treating people. And it went on and on and on over months and months. And one day he was downstairs. We were all working upstairs. Big house, huge house, man. And his cousin came over and started yelling at him. And they were screaming at each other. And we were all sitting upstairs, including myself, kind of hoping that this guy would beat him up. Now, you know what's really sick about this whole thing? I didn't want to do the beating. I wanted somebody else to do it. You think you're spiritual, Oh, I'm not like that. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, he did get beat up by his cousin, and we relished in it. We all felt, that we loved it that he got beat up. And now I got to tell you, that doesn't make you feel good.
No, it's like
it doesn't. It makes you feel like shit when you do that. But yet, that's what I was doing with him. He ended up in very short time losing that house, lost his law practice, lost everything. The jobs were shut down. Everybody went away. That happened not long after this event, quite quickly, if I remember correctly. And as I was leaving, the last time I was leaving, I'd been reading what Bill wrote. It is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what seems to be the cause, there's something wrong with me, something wrong with us. And I thought, there it is again, man. Here it is again. Now I'm about 4 years sober at this point, And I thought, here it is. I didn't want to do the ass kicking, but I wanted somebody else to do it. That's really sad, And I thought, man, I gotta write him a letter. And when I left that day, I knew I wouldn't see him again for who knows. I didn't know what would happen. And I wrote a letter and I thanked him for giving me the job and for work and for that sort of thing. He actually got me back into the trades
Okay.
because they bought me tools and all kinds of stuff. Him and a guy named Randy Lane was pulling the permits, but Randy didn't want to do the work. I was doing all the work.
Yeah.
Randy was pulling the permits. So I ended up back in the trades again, I had gotten away from him. But I thought, man, I gotta clean this up with him. So I just wrote
Yeah. How does that letter look? Like,
Well,
hey, I wanted you to get beat up. I didn't want to
no,
do the beating.
I didn't do any of that. I just said I thanked him. It was all positive. I was thanking him for the work.
Yeah.
He treated me quite well. He really did.
Sounds
He
like,
bought me dinners. He did all kinds of stuff. He was very nice to me. And I thanked him for all that stuff. And then I left that letter in his mail slot. And then I left.
You have something down there?
Well, about 10 years later, he gets sober.
Yeah.
Ends up in the mission over in St. Paul where I do a meeting.
Mission Detox.
No, Mission Union Gospel Mission.
Okay.
Christ Recovery Center. He ends up over there. And the only reason they let him in was if my sponsor, Joseph, and I would sponsor him.
Oh, they knew this guy and they said,
Oh, nobody liked him, man. I'm telling you, everybody just hated him. A lot of people still do, it's sad.
He's just one of those guys. He's in there just belittling
Well,
people.
he's just abusive,
He didn't find a solution, huh?
I don't know if he ever got out of any of that.
But your side of it's what you're saying is.
But anyway, he tells me later, as he's staying sober now, he tells me that one of the reasons he came back to AA, he said, because I knew that there were people that would put principles above personalities. That's what he said to me.
Because he knew he was an ass?
Well, he knew that I was, by making that amend to him, in a sense of just talking about him in a respectful way,
right,
instead of looking at what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brought him back. That brought him back, or he wouldn't have come back.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? So, you may be affecting people's lives and you're unaware of how much you're affecting or what's happening with it,
Well, and this kind of goes to, and it's not me stroking you. What it is me saying, you hear, oh, meeting makers make it. You hear these things, but there's a side to that missing meetings or missing someone sharing, you might miss out on hearing something that you wouldn't have heard if you weren't there. I don't know. I'm going to the point of hearing you explain one of your experiences with it. If I didn't have you in here sharing about it, or if you didn't share about your experiences, a lot of the stuff that's in these books, let's just say what it is. I didn't comprehend some of the shit I read or that was read to me.
Well, I think a lot of people don't, and that's why we read the material to them in our inventory workshop at 2218.
What is that about? I don't think I had it in the. So what are you talking about?
It's a 4-step workshop on Wednesday nights at 6:30.
Chapter 5.
Where's that at again?
2218 First Avenue South. It's at the club.
How much is it?
In the auditorium. It doesn't cost anything.
Oh, anyone can show up.
Anybody, doesn't matter.
Does it matter at what stage?
I don't care if it doesn't matter if they're AA, NA, Al-Anon, doesn't matter.
It's 7 weeks continuously. They can pop in at any time, and they do not need a big book because they have the chapter printed out.
Nice. A lot of sponsees show up to this too. I know. I know for a fact. I know people that have, and that you just continuously do the 4-step, and it's a 4-step workshop, call it what you will, and that's right out of the book. And you'll share some of your experiences you've had with some of the stuff as we go, and yeah, I just think it's really valuable when you're going to any type of a meeting where there's shares to be open to hear something.
Well, why don't we just read the rest of this thing? There's not too much. We don't have to read the whole thing, but
Okay.
in all these situations,
We need self-restraint. honest analysis of what is involved, a willingness to admit when the fault is ours, and an equal willingness to forgive when the fault is elsewhere. We need not be discouraged when we fall into the error of our old ways, for these disciplines are not easy. We shall look for progress, not for perfection. Our first objective will be the development of self-restraint.
Stepping back from reacting.
This carries a top priority rating. When we speak or act hastily or rashly, the ability to be fair-minded and tolerant evaporates on the spot.
Yep, it does.
One unkind tirade or one willful snap judgment can ruin our relation with another person for the whole day or maybe a whole year. Nothing pays off like restraint of tongue and pen. We must avoid quick-tempered criticism and furious, power-driven argument. The same goes for sulking or silent scorn. These are emotional booby traps, baited with pride and vengefulness. Our first job is to sidestep the traps. When we are tempted by the bait, we should train ourselves to step back and think. For we can neither think nor act to good purpose until the habit of self-restraint has become automatic. And that's what I was doing with my ex over the phone. And
it was just your go-to.
Yeah, instead of like he would say like horrible things, and I would react, and I just stopped reacting basically. And I wasn't giving him anything.
Right. We weren't giving him that power.
No. You want me to continue with that?
We can,
There's not that much left, is there?
Disagreeable or unexpected problems are not only the
are not the
only ones that call for self-control. We must be quite as careful when we begin to achieve some measure of importance and material success. For no people have ever loved personal triumph more than we have loved them. We drank of success as of a wine which could never fail to make us feel elated. When temporary good fortune came our way, we indulged ourselves in fantasies of still greater victories over people and circumstances. Thus, blinded by prideful self-confidence, we were apt to play the big shot. Of course, people turned away from us, bored or hurt. Now that we're in AA and sober and winning back the esteem of our friends and business associates, we find that we still need to exercise special vigilance. As an insurance against big shotism, we can often check ourselves by remembering that we are today sober only by the grace of God, and that any success we may be having is far more His success than ours. Finally, we begin to see that all people, including ourselves, are to some extent emotionally ill as well as frequently wrong. And then we approach true tolerance and see what real love for our fellows actually means. It will become more and more evident as we go forward that it is pointless to become angry or to get hurt by people who, like us, are suffering from the pains of growing up. Such a radical change in our outlook will take time, maybe a lot of time. Not many people can truthfully assert that they love everybody. Most of us must admit that we have loved but a few, that we have been quite indifferent to the many so long as none of them gave us trouble. And as for the remainder, well, we have really disliked or hated them. Although these attitudes are common enough, we AAs find we need something much better in order to keep our balance. We can't stand it if we hate deeply. The idea that we can be possessively loving of a few, can ignore the many, and can continue to fear or hate anybody has to be abandoned, if only a little at a time.
Yeah, me being pissed off will overshower all that shit. You know?
yeah.
I'm living in anger. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. We can try to stop making unreasonable demands upon those we love. We can show kindness where we had shown none. With those we dislike, we can begin to practice justice and courtesy, perhaps going out of our way to understand and help them. Whenever we fail any of these people, we can promptly admit it to ourselves anyways, and to them
To
also,
ourselves.
or to ourselves always, and to them also, when the admission would be helpful. Courtesy, kindness, justice, and love are the keynotes by which we may come into harmony with practically anybody. When in doubt, we can always pause saying, "Not my will, but thine be done." And we can often ask ourselves, am I doing to others as I would have them do to me today?
Yeah.
When evening comes, perhaps just before going to sleep, many of us draw up a balance sheet for the day. This is a good place to remember that inventory taking is not always done in red ink. It's a poor day indeed when we hadn't done something right. As a matter of fact, the waking hours are usually well filled with things that are constructive. Good intentions, good thoughts, and good acts are there for us to see. Even when we have tried hard and failed, we may chalk that up as one of the greatest credits of all.
Mm-hmm.
Under these conditions, the pains of failure are converted into assets. Out of them, we receive the stimulation we need to go forward. Someone who knew that he was talking about
Knew what he.
Someone who knew what he was talking about once remarked that pain was the touchstone of all spiritual progress. How heartily we AAs can agree with him. For we know that the pains of drinking had to come before sobriety and emotional turmoil before serenity.
Real quick.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who. I think it was way back when I had you on at 2218 and we went through this. It was the first time someone, maybe I hadn't read out of this yet or got this, but it was one of the first times it was brought up, like, because my 10-step inventory every night was, where did I F up? Where did I mess up? All right, I messed up here. I messed up here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was, I don't recall. Someone said, dude, you had some wins throughout the day. Don't forget about some of the wins, or there's some assets hidden in there. Like, give yourself some credit. It's not all in the red. It's not all bad. You are changing, but watch your ego.
Yeah.
That was a big one. Like, don't start tooting your horn too loud. All right, I'm sorry.
Well, and I like the one where like you give yourself credit for trying and failing. Too.
Yeah, and I think they said that could be some of your biggest wins.
Right.
And there's examples there of like, never in my life before had I apologized for something I did wrong, and I owned up to it. Like, they didn't accept my apology, but that's still something bigger that I've ever,
Well, and I think in my life, like for me, like my mistakes are what taught me. Like, and I think of it at work, like my new position a few years ago. When I would make mistakes, I would learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
If I was doing it right, sometimes I didn't even know I was doing it right, and it was right, but I wasn't learning from it until I did it wrong, and then it's
right. That's a good example right there. Like, yeah, some of our biggest wins come through our failures.
Yeah. As we glance down the debit side of the day's ledger, we should carefully examine our motives in each thought or act that appears to be wrong. In most cases, our motives won't be hard to see and understand. When prideful, angry, jealous, anxious, or fearful, we acted accordingly, and that was that. Here we need only recognize that we did act or think badly. Try to visualize how we might have done better, and resolve with God's help to carry these lessons over into tomorrow, making, of course, any amends still neglected. But in other instances, only the closest scrutiny will reveal what our true motive motives were. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. But in our other instances, only the closest scrutiny will reveal what our true motives were. These are cases where our ancient enemy, rationalization, has stepped in and has justified conduct which was really wrong. The temptation here is to imagine that we had good motives and reasons when we really didn't. We constructively criticize someone who needed it when our real motive was to win a useless argument, or the person concerned not being present. We thought we were helping others to understand him, but in actuality, our true motive was to feel superior by putting him down. We sometimes hurt those we love because they need to be taught a lesson when we really wanted to punish. We were depressed and complained when we felt bad, when in fact, we were mainly asking for sympathy and attention. This odd trait of mind and emotion, this perverse wish to hide a bad motive underneath a good one, permeates human affairs from top to bottom. The subtle and elusive kind of self-righteousness can underlie the smallest act or thought. Learning daily to spot, admit, and correct these flaws is the essence of character building and good living. An honest regret for harms done, a genuine gratitude for blessings received, and a willingness to try for better things tomorrow will be the permanent assets we shall seek. Having so considered our day, not omitting to take due note of things well done, and having searched our hearts for neither fear nor favor, we can truly thank God for the blessings we have received and sleep in good conscience.
Oh, your conscience makes a soft pillow.
The end of step 10.
Do you? I think I know the answer, but it needs to be asked. Do you still do a 10-step inventory before you go to bed every night, Rick?
No, I never have done that.
Why not?
I just haven't. I don't know.
Is it because you just address it as they come up?
Yeah.
He does.
No, I know.
Yeah, like I don't like to address stuff. I like to wait and let him just make it go away, and he likes to address it. And it's been, for me, it's been a helpful example of, because otherwise you're just sitting in it.
You're taking it to bed with you if you are able to clear it. And on certain situations, like your example at the bar, like that needed you going to bed at night saying, "Oh, I know I effed that guy up and I shit on it." You're not making good on that.
No, and you can't do it later.
No,
It has to be done.
Yeah.
now.
And I think it's good, like when there are times when I'm emotional where I need to just take a step,
right.
Think, and then get a clear head, ask for help, and things.
Okay. We can get wrapping up, but we'll wait till you come back and then
Watch out.
there's dogs and mats and pee waps and
Yeah, he used it when he was here.
that's good.
I know.
Does he not use it usually or?
Yeah,
Oh.
he does. He's
Where's
obsessed
Dad going?
with Dad.
Dad, where you going? Dad, wait, hang on. I love that little chair.
I know. Rick had bought one for his vehicle too.
Oh, and do they sit right in it in the car?
Yeah. Well, usually it always seems to like hang on Rick a little bit.
That's okay.
Baby.
Oh, Rick's a big baby too. Come on, he's a big softy. So the highlight. So, and I think you gave the example. The highlight of step 10 stuff that you've seen work the best throughout your life is with your past relationships.
Yeah, and I think they like bringing it into current relationships, and like one of my things is jealousy, just silly jealousy, like jealousy over. And Rick says that I'm very competitive, and I think that's the jealousy part where I want to be better.
Yeah.
It's not realistic, and I've been taking a look at that the last few years. Like, Oliver or Marty, the jealousy part, and when it props up, deal with it immediately.
No. But now here's a question for all right, as being a woman. When you hear someone say jealous, you're thinking, most people right away, oh, like jealous of other women. When something like that comes about, like it's only for you to be able to find that and address it, correct? Like, because if you are dealing with that, and let's just use an example, Rick points it out. Misty, you're being a little jealous right now.
I'm actually jealous of like being in the gym. Like if people do, that's what I get really jealous of.
That's good jealous.
Yeah.
Not good, but it helps drive you
It
more,
does
right?
help drive me, but I'm like, I want people to do
Not-
good, but not like
not-
not better than what I think my level is.
Uh,
And as I get older, yeah, so that's the big jealousy. But when I was in the bars and stuff like that, my ex, I got jealous of him spending or giving attention to other women. And that was tough. I mean, that's just tough. You like sit there and you're witnessing it. And,
yeah.
you know, I haven't really had to deal with that part of jealousy since then, but that was tough. And that was something like I had to talk to him about how it was.
Well, if you are still not in a healthy relationship, having that conversation, you're not going to usually turn out well.
No.
Like,
And then
ever.
you do stuff like, then I was doing stuff like I wanted to teach him a lesson and I'm going to do the exact same thing. And then he's not even like he never reacted.
That'd make it even worse.
Oh, yes.
Ah, yes.
Oh, those days are done. I'm so glad.
I know, isn't it freeing?
Yeah.
It's just less tiring, all that
now
stuff.
I don't need to spend time with people that are like that. If it doesn't work, then I don't need to I don't
That's
need
a
to
big
address
gift.
it.
That's a huge gift
I
that
can walk
this,
away.
this program's giving me that gift of not being around that type of shit
Mhm.
anymore.
Yeah.
Family, even if it's family, I don't have to be
Right.
around it.
I don't need to do it.
And I don't need a reason why.
Yep.
Like, I know what my serenity looks like, and it's not being around toxic shit.
Right.
I mean,
yes, I walked
There's no
away from that.
toxic shit.
there's
What?
none.
No, it's in you.
I was just gonna say, if you're spotted, you got it. All right, well, kiddos, that was a good 10-step conversation. We did a lot of reading. Feel better? You emptied?
I'm cold.
He's cold a lot.
Buddy, you know what that means?
You're diabetic.
No.
Might be sick.
You might be getting old, bud. Here, we'll get you all nice and toasty.
Oh, I like those things.
heaters.
Yeah. They're like fan heaters, but they're not really space heaters.
I've got so many of these damn heaters because of my job. I'm a
Yeah.
maintenance guy, so when someone's house goes out, like, and I'm in my work van now, I've got so many space heaters. If you guys ever need a space heater,
I have a little one like that is a fan and then heats, but it doesn't project a lot of like overwhelming
I think
heat.
this is what is it, 1,500 watts, whatever. It
You
should
can't
warm daddy
I
up.
feel it.
You feeling it?
I feel it.
All right. Well, then let's get to the wrap, and we're gonna have to do our fun little pick a number 1 through 100, Misty.
I'm going to do lucky 13.
Lucky 13. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Oh, I don't know if I'm either anymore. I used to be a morning person, but I think I'm more of a night person.
Night.
But
Dad.
either night.
I know you guys are nighters. Pick a number 1 through 100.
99.
Nothing finer than 99er. I think we've had, if you could choose any 2 famous people, living or dead, to have dinner with, who would it be?
2?
Any 2 people to sit down and break bread with, living or dead.
Oh. Yeah, probably Jesus.
Yeah, that a boy. Yeah, Jesus is breaking bread with me. And then one more. Just get to pick their brains.
I don't know.
You said Joseph last time.
Did I?
Yeah, Joe Perry.
Maybe my mother.
Ooh, that's a good
I
one.
just had, mom and grandma, someone just said. Who would your 2 people be?
Well, definitely Jesus, and I would do my grandpa.
Grandpa?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, let's do another round. These are always fun. 1 through 100, Misty.
49. Just help yourself, Ollie. You just take those treats out your.
Oh, this would be fun. If I don't think I've ever asked this. If you could bring back any fashion trend, what would it be? Those hay long bangs? No.
Bell bottoms. Oh, they're kind of.
I think I've
I
seen
wear a
them.
lot of. I think that would be mine.
I was gonna say sexy. I'm bringing sexy
Oh, yeah,
back.
yeah.
No, I'm joking. Rick, what fashion would you bring back? The audience wants to know.
Probably mini skirts.
You know what? Give me a little bump on that one. Atta boy. I'm right there with you. Mini skirts, Daisy Dukers. Ah. Tell me about your gratitude, Rick. Name of the show is called Attitude for Gratitude. Let's hear about your gratitude, Rick.
What's my gratitude?
What's it look like today?
Well, I'm grateful for Ollie.
Ollie is the service animal who's here right now. His new little buddy.
Emotionally support.
Yeah. What is your gratitude look like, Misty?
I think my gratitude is coming back to this. This is fun.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to us getting back on track. And to be honest with you guys, I'd be fine doing just throughout the summer, just doing our show once a month, and I'll fill in the blanks later. And I think I've already had that conversation with you guys about.
Who's the Kevin who's doing?
Oh, he's a good kid. Not anyone you probably know. He's at SNL at the back table all the time. He's probably, I don't know, he's got a couple years. He just that door stays open, and whoever wants to come in here and sit down,
sure.
and he'll say, "Hey, what's been keeping you sober?" Or whatever. It's something that Paul would like for this to be something for meeting goers, an event for meeting goers. So I started them a Wednesday show, which is an open door show every Wednesday. That door is open. Come on in. And he still wanted it to. So I created the first 2 Fridays, but like I said, we'll see where it goes. I'm not, and I've been vocal about this. I have no interest in doing that, and it comes through on air to anyone watching. But honestly, Paul and Caroline don't give a shit who watches. It's not about who watches. For them, it's about something for these guys to do. But now with this karaoke, if you walk over, there's 30, 40 people there till 11, 12 o'clock at night. I don't need a show. They don't need it. They don't need it. So Friday nights, I think we're good now. We'll see. Like I said, I was going to take 2-3 months off for the summer just because last summer was a shit show with me wanting to always be at the camper. But whatever. We'll see where it goes. God will take it the direction it needs to go. Maybe I'll be back at 2218.
Yeah.
Won't be able to have all this bullshit on the walls, but yeah. All right. Last one. Any superpower? What would your superpower be, Misty?
Time travel.
That's a goodie. Forward and back. Rick?
Humility.
Hey, at least he said one. In the past, he's not said them sometimes.
Yeah.
Humility. Oh, wow. Oh, no, you're okay. You didn't know. Ooh.
What did he do?
Just went up on my leg. He didn't know. You can go on this leg. Here you go. No, it's okay. I scared the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay, buddy. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, wow. That is really tender. I've been putting ice on it too.
What happened?
I have not a clue. Oh, a spider bit me or something, but my whole muscle it's a lot of pain. Okay, everybody out there. I'm pointing at you. Let's do this. Let's do this. Remember, I brought up that meeting. Don't forget, if you're looking for a newer or different meeting, it's called Victory AA. Monday nights, 7 p.m. United Church in Robbinsdale, 4200 Lake Road. It's a step in tradition meeting. It's open and it's mixed. They read from Grapevine, the big book. Otherwise, come on down to We'll Work for Recovery. We've got something going on every day of the week. Tonight, they'll be in there singing karaoke till 11, 12 o'clock at night. They got a bonfire going on. Come on down if you're looking for something to do that's safe. You know, no one's going to be down here getting drunk or high. So it's a safe place to come down and hang out on a Friday night. Other than that, if you are struggling, please reach out, get to a meeting, call Intergroup, find one. If you're having self-harm thoughts, things of that nature, dial 988. It's called Suicide Hotline, but utilize the number. I finally did my homework and I called it and saw what the process was. And you do talk to a live person. They're friendly volunteers that have an educational background with that type of topic. So don't hesitate to utilize 988 if you need someone to talk to. Other than that, come on down, get connected, be a part of, not apart from, find a solution. Look for similarities, not differences. And I'm out of here. See you next week, guys. No, I lied. You won't see me next. Is this the last Friday of the month?
No. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Because the first, yep, you're going to get Kevin in an open show. If you want to get on the show next week, come on down. Bye.